and welcome to the very first GoG Spoilercast. Thank you very much for coming to hang out with us. And we're about to talk about Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And I got some friendly faces and voices around this digital table. Depends on how you're listening to this. Thank you very much if you're on YouTube and watching along with us. We're also hosting this as part of the Girls on Games podcast on Podbean and all the places that we host this podcast. But yeah, we decided we wanted to break this out into a special show because it's, you know, always kind of difficult to talk about spoilery things and talk about video games and get into the nitty gritty details without a big spoiler warning. And we don't want to, you know, ruin an episode of the podcast and, you know, block it out for some people who haven't partaken in the gloriousness that is Assassin's Creed Odyssey yet. So we decided, you know what, let's take out a special evening, special day with special friends and talk about this awesome game that we love. Aww,
so
yeah.
cute!
Yay! So,
I'm so honored.
But without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to the friendly voices and faces around this digital table. And, as always, my partner in crime, Catherine. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. I forgot to say, I think we all need to introduce ourselves, what we do, also how we got into Assassin's Creed Odyssey, how far into the timeline of when the game released, when you started playing, and as well, how familiar you are with the Assassin's Creed series, because obviously it's been going around for a while. And Kat, I know you are a grizzled veteran, so tell us your tale of Assassin's Creed.
I am a grizzled veteran. When we started this whole adventure that is Girls on Games, 6-7 years ago?
Something like that.
I was already a big Assassin's Creed fan, and Ubisoft was one of the first PR contact we got, and I was losing my shit. I think the first game, one of the first games we covered for them was Rocksmith, and not long after it was Assassin's Creed Brotherhood.
I know.
So, I've played every main Assassin's Creed game. There are only 2 that I did not finish. The first one.
Which I can understand.
Mostly because I got in the series with Assassin's Creed 2. So, going to the first one was a step back. And Syndicate. For many reasons, most of them personal. I had some gripes with the game, and then I couldn't play it because of personal reasons. Just stuff happening in my life, and going back to the game reminds me of that time, and I'm like, no thank you. So I didn't finish that game, unfortunately. But I have recently finished Origins. I got into Origins late. I started last summer, so I finished Origins. I took a month off, then I jumped into Odyssey, and I started Odyssey in, I want to say, early December, end of November.
Okay.
And I'm sitting at 132 hours in Odyssey, I think.
Now, your reasons for waiting so long was mostly because you had just finished Origins, not that you had any intention on waiting, right?
I kind of wanted to start during the Christmas break.
Okay.
But then I was just in the mindset I needed a game to play, and it was there, and everybody was raving about it. I was like, I gotta play, and I was really afraid that I would get burned out because I had just finished playing 90 hours of Origins, and had done the first DLC and part of the second DLC, and I ended up not finishing the second DLC to play Odyssey instead, and I have no regrets. Turns out it was different enough for me to just live that life. I'm also a huge fan of open world games, so those types of games I will eat up. No problems. Hundreds of hours.
Cool.
Always.
Cool. And that other voice that you probably recognize is Simon.
Hello.
How you doing, bud? So what's your history with Assassin's Creed?
Jeez. So I played the first one when it first came out just to see what the whole buzz was about, and then I never played another Assassin's Creed game ever.
Why?
Until Odyssey.
Why?
I don't know. The thing is that I usually enjoy stealth games and, assassination games. I played Styx Master Shadows and I had a lot of fun, and I guess I was in my goth gamer phase. It's too popular. I don't play a popular game.
That's not goth, that's hipster. Sorry.
Emo, hipster, whatever. I don't know. The names change all the time. But yeah, so I don't know, and I guess it just didn't appeal to me, and back then UB wasn't exactly what it is. So, it was all releasing a new Assassin's Creed game every single year. So I was like, oh, this shit again, whatever. And then it was full of bugs and all that stuff. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wait until the game falls on my lap and it happens. And do we go into how we start playing Odyssey just yet? Or
Sure, yes. Go for the gold.
Well, for those who know, who follow Girls on Games, you know that Witcher 3 is one of my favorite games. And not unlike how Witcher 3 just fell into my lap when I bought a video card, Assassin's Creed Odyssey fell into my lap because Catherine works at Ubisoft and she had a copy. So she's...
I forgot to mention that somewhere in life I landed a web design job at Ubisoft, and the girl inside of me just started screaming with joy.
And there you go.
Yes. So as a perk, I did get Simon a Christmas gift.
Yeah, exactly. So, I was interested because I was seeing, Steph play it, Catherine play it, so many people play it, and I was like, okay, well, everyone's loving this game. There's something to it. And I had just played Spider-Man. I played God of War, and all those games were like getting great reviews, and I love them. I'm like, okay, well, everyone's liking Odyssey as well. I'll give it a try. And just fell in love with the game, like all the same. I think I must have put like 50 hours during a week during the holidays. I only went back. I think I'm at like 70, 72 hours. I didn't really go back to it once I finished the second DLC. But like, wow, this game consumed my life for a better part of 2-3 weeks. That's all I thought about during my lunches. I watched videos and or the calls at Star, what's the optimal damage build and all that stuff. So that's when I got really interested. When I got into optimizing my build, that's when that I got really into that game. So yeah, we'll talk about more why, but definitely that's just my history with Assassin's Creed. Thanks,
Simon. Now, this voice you've probably heard from days gone by, but she's back again. Steph, how's it going? Long time since you've been on the GoGCast. Well, that's not true. You were on an episode I wasn't on a little bit ago. But for us together, it's been a little bit of time.
Yeah, it's always an honor. I'm always so happy to be back under, kind of a new old name, but
let's make things complicated.
Screw it up at some point.
Alice, aka Steph, whatever, vice versa. But yeah,
the concept artist formerly known as Alice.
There you go.
There you go.
Name switch is a bit political, but anyway, yeah.
So how about you? What's your trajectory with Assassin's Creed? Did you? Kidders are going crazy back there. They wanted to be part of this.
Kitty fight.
Anyway, sorry.
That's
okay.
fine.
No, it's my time. Oh, you can edit this out.
No, it's fine.
My background's a bit different from everybody else. I've never played an Assassin's Creed at all. I've watched. Maybe I think my brother played a bit of a Black Flag, but that's not I don't have any other knowledge other than Odyssey. And Odyssey came to me at like kind of a really, really sensitive time to me. Without getting into too much detail, like I was just at my lowest, and I knew Odyssey was coming out, and UB perks because I do work at Ubisoft. I was able to play it without buying it, and a few days earlier than when it was actually going to come out, and I just downloaded it, and like I waited until it was finished, and I started at midnight, and I was just like, my God, this is one of my favorite fucking games in the world. Oops, I swore. But,
you're allowed.
Okay,
we are explicit.
But like, I don't know if it's like. It has to do with, my background being Greek as well.
How fucking dare
you? And also... I missed that. What'd you say?
How fucking dare you?
Her history. She doesn't... She can't move away from that.
Mine, but like, I'm going to, I'm going to soak up anything that's Greek and in video games, and I get to play a beautiful, baby, strong woman.
Oh my God.
Like, that's what really attracted me first, right?
For real.
I knew for sure 100% I was gonna like role play Cassandra to the fullest. Like, I played the demo and I was just like just so stunned that she was saying Ella when she was on her horse. And I'm just like, world. So I was hooked from day one, and it was an outlet for me to like, turn all the bullshit that I was going through off and just focus on Cassandra and like, make her me kind of thing. And
For real.
yeah, I absolutely I love that game so much.
And aren't you from the starting island from the game? From
I am Kefalonia. Yeah. And spoiler, I chose one of the worst options for Kefalonia.
Yeah, I was like, spoilers, you started the plague.
I doomed my city, my island.
Same.
And I told my mom, and she's just like, what is wrong with you? Can you go back and help them? Can you save them? Like, no, Mom, I can't do this.
Oh,
It
that
was
is
a plague.
so good.
It's already too late.
It's too late.
Yeah, and she's just like so disappointed in me. And then I felt my grandmother from above. Like, and I'm like, yeah. Like, anyway.
I love this.
God.
Oh my God.
That's awesome. And joining us again, because we did a episode of the GoGCast together, Pat Laundrie. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastically. This is just a great experience, a great opportunity. Talking about this game, which I've sunk so many hours, and even to the surprise, I'm sure, of maybe a lot of people that were listening to this, it's actually the game that I've played the most in the entire generation. This is the game that I've played the most, and
Really?
it's not over yet, because I loved it so much that I'm going for the platinum trophy. Yes, I'm playing on PS4. I'm 105 hours in, and I'm not done yet, and I'm just sinking everything that I can into this game. It's just, I'm losing myself on the misthios. It is just
Nice.
crazy.
Mm.
And yeah, so my familiarity with the franchise is actually pretty recent, because it is actually the second game that I'm actually really, really digging to really finish. The only one I've actually really played is the very first one,
Oh, really?
which actually I've played maybe like 2 years ago, something like
Okay.
that. But
Yeah.
I've always kind of got around the franchise and got to know it, especially that in my older years.
I'm sorry.
Alice, what is going on?
Al
Alice's
is being
cat.
a brat.
Alice's cat is in the background,
Amazing.
just like taking all of her collectibles and just dropping them on the floor as
like
Pat is
the
Oh
talking.
my God.
It's like the
I'm
gangster
trying
thing.
to stop myself from laughing. I
so
can't.
funny.
I'm
Oh
so
my
sorry.
God.
It's
I'm so
okay.
sorry.
It's
I'm
okay.
I'm just gonna kick him out. Okay.
It's,
Okay.
I'm
it's
so sorry.
so funny.
Keep going, Pat.
Oh my God.
Sorry about
All
that.
right, no problem. So that's it. So the only games I've really, really played is the very first one and this last one. But it's always something that I've dabbled in and got to know around, and I followed the media a lot. So always knew about Assassin's Creed. I always wanted to play them like crazy, because I love history. I
Yeah.
love all the different time periods and everything.
Mhm.
And now, especially since we heard about Origins, that, oh boy, okay, going with Egyptian mythology, I need to play it, but never had the chance to actually play it.
Mm.
So when I had the opportunity with the website that I'm writing to, called Real Game Media, that I actually had the chance to get a copy provided to me. And
Nice.
this is what I had. So I had a copy courtesy of all Ubisoft. Thank you very much for the opportunity, by the way. And I was like, okay, I need to sync it, but did I expect to actually fall in love so much with the game? Absolutely not.
Mm.
So I just sang into it, and because I was provided a gold edition, so I'm getting all the DLC and
Nice.
everything provided to it, and I can't wait for the remaster games coming soon.
Mm.
But yeah, I'm playing and now for all the latest, all the other trophies and everything. So exploring every nooks and crannies of all little regions and trying to go underwater to all the locations. There's so much stuff, and I'm not getting sick of it. It's just, there's so many things. It's my Witcher 3.
Yeah.
There you go.
So
Nice.
that's it pretty much. So now I'm just going around and doing all the quests and exploring everything, and just loving everything that I've experienced so far.
Great, thanks. So yeah, my history with Assassin's Creed is that I've been hooked since the start. I think the only game I didn't play was the Rogue one, because it was on a back console. But technically, I did play a little because I played it at a demo event at Ubisoft. So there we go. Technically played them all. Yeah, and picked up the game at launch and haven't put it down since. Gave it a little bit of a breather during Red Dead Redemption time, but then over the holidays, jumped right back in again because nobody can really leave the Odyssey. I mean, honestly, no one can leave. It's like Hotel California. You can check out, but you can never leave. So
The Odyssey's forever.
When I found that I had some comrades here in this love of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I thought, we needed to do a spoiler cast. It was about time. We were constantly talking about it on the podcast. It was a game that we were all playing so much that we really needed to get down to the nitty gritty. And so I guess we can preface this and say we've all finished the main story.
Yep.
Some of us have finished the first DLC. Actually, all of us have finished the first DLC.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us haven't finished the second piece of DLC. Me
I
included.
did it.
I think I'm the only one who
You
finished.
did it?
Oh, you two, Pat?
I did it. I did it also.
And we'll get into that. So, I think the first thing we all need to know, before we get into talking about our thoughts on the story, is who played as Alexios and who played as Cassandra? Because we had a choice. So, Kat?
I went with Alexios. It was an editorial choice.
Ooh, because we all went with Cassandra?
Because because you went with Cassandra.
I did.
And everybody on the Discord, in the Girls on Games Discord, seemed to be playing Cassandra.
Mm-hmm.
And we figured
Except me.
but I figured maybe somebody should play at Alexios to really confirm that it's the same game and it's the same choices. And to me, there was no bad choices. I was leaning towards Cassandra because finally they were giving me a woman to play, and I was like, she looks amazing. And it was serendipitous because I think 3 days after I started my game, Leah, you messaged me saying I booked the voice actors of Alexios for the podcast, and I may need your help. And I was like, oh, okay, good.
Perfect.
That was so amazing.
He was Demos for me,
Deimos.
right?
Yeah. But it's crazy
Sorry.
because I went to see videos after to compare some of the scenes that I played with Cassandra as my Deimos, and then to see him as Deimos, and his performance is completely Alexios and Deimos are really completely different people, and his performance is really different.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I went with Alexios. Honestly, there's no bad choice.
No, there really isn't. There really isn't.
To be fair, both performances are great, and they both make great villains, and they both make great heroes.
Simon, Cassandra?
Oh my God, yes.
Okay, Alice Cassandra?
Dear God, Cassandra.
And then so we got Pat and Kat who did Alexios, and the rest of us did Cassandra. Interesting. Though.
It's funny because I'm I have a really hard time imagining Cassandra being Deimos. I don't know if it's how I played her or if it's how I imagine her personality being, but I have a hard time imagining.
I went and watched, and she's a badass.
Yeah.
She's a different kind of Deimos because I think the way the Alexios voice actor he really has a lot of gravitas. Yeah, so when he's in Deimos mode, when I play him as a hero, when he has scenes where he gets really angry, he gets that kind of gravitas out, and I was like, oh God, don't piss that guy.
For real.
So as Deimos, he's got that classic gravitas. As in, I find for Cassandra as Deimos, it's a bit more subtle. She almost feels like the Joker. Is this person really a villain? And then she does something completely fucking batshit insane, just beating somebody in the ground. I'm just like, yep.
She's not in our playthrough. She's not an all-out mighty powerful that always the warrior. But when she decides to strike, oh my God, no, she's a villain. So imagine
like a cobra, just snap, you're dead.
Yeah. And some of the scenes definitely. So I'm pretty sure that it is the same thing that for us, except if we actually do the exorcist to exercise herself and really trying to see the other end, just to really switch her perspective, that you have the same perspective on Alexios that we have on Cassandra. And that's really top notch production quality.
real.
That's crazy.
I
Like,
think the
It-
actors had a
it's-
lot of room to stretch and
Yeah.
have their interpretation of the Misthios and Deimos.
Mm-hmm.
You were gonna say, Alice?
Totally.
No, I was just gonna say it just came as a shock to me when I saw some videos on YouTube as Cassandra as a Deimos, and I was like, it felt awkward
Yeah.
at first.
Because like I
You
got
know-
I got the bad ending, so
Ooh.
I'm like I'm gonna go.
Boy,
Yeah,
Oh
no,
my
I got
God.
the bad ending, so I'm like I'm gonna go watch the good ending on the internet, and the good ending was Cassandra as Deimos, and I was like,
Yeah.
no, this is
yeah, but
weirding
it's
me
also
out.
the way you role play her too. Like I played her as like a hard ass, but like a sweetheart at the same time. You know,
Same.
so like to see her it just felt so unnatural, and I was disturbed by it.
Mhm.
But then like, is it a gender thing too? Maybe because I don't know.
I don't think it's a gender
No.
thing. I think it's
No.
the choices that we made while playing the game and the
Yeah,
character
yeah,
that we
just
built.
clouding that or something.
Yeah, and
Like,
seeing
watching her. Yeah.
Yeah, seeing that person change completely, especially since you have this visual and the voice and everything, and
Mhm.
seeing
Yeah.
how they changed it. Because when I spoke to Michael, it was like it was an entirely different person when he started pretending to be Deimos, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, that whole mantra, even how you could tell, even how it was animated and how they were carrying themselves was
Yeah.
totally different. Now, I wanted to get into story first, but I think this is like the pivotal point in the Assassin's Creed. Pardon me, the first time we got a chance to really choose who we wanted to take on this journey. Now, mind you, we had Syndicate. There was a guy and a girl, right? But not really. It would put you in that person's
Yeah.
body for a little while. You'd play as that character, and then whoop, now you're playing as the other character. A little bit as Jacob, a little bit as Evie Fry. So why do you think they took this choice? Because that's a lot of freaking development work to do everything twice, and not just when you're thinking about it, not just them speaking. You have to think about all the different interactions that they needed to change and all the other voice work that they had to do. I think they were lucky in the fact that they could call the character Misthios because they saved themselves a gender issue.
Yeah.
I don't
I
think it was luck. I think it was a really
Yeah.
definite choice, intelligently made, that if we want to do this, what would
It was
be the
time.
most intelligent way to actually do so?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for Syndicate, they had that willingness, but maybe not the time or the technology. Syndicate was also the first game led and shipped by Ubisoft Quebec, which was
True.
a brand new studio at the time. So they took risks that maybe Montreal wasn't willing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Origin was really about revamping the systems more, the combat system, having that open world and really building that. And maybe while they did that, that gave Quebec City the leeway to start thinking about narrative choice and as well as character choice.
Mhm.
Because, I mean, it's still a pretty safe choice where they gave us 2 pre-made characters.
Mhm.
You know, it's still not a character builder. It's not like Dragon Age Inquisition where we build our Inquisitor with
Mhm.
race and visual and voice and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
And
it still is a very high
Yeah.
step going from changing protagonist to serve the narrative to
Yeah.
actually fully personalize and having each their own quest line with their own differences. So it's pretty solid. I
Yeah.
didn't realize that Syndicate was actually just the previous game from the same studio. I didn't realize it was
Yeah.
the same thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I mean, before that, it was basically Montreal did Unity, which was the first game that was in this generation of consoles.
Right.
So that had its problems.
Mm.
And then Quebec City
Syndicate?
did Syndicate, which was the first one with 2 protagonists. While that, Montreal did Origins, where there's a huge revamp of the game and a rebuild of the franchise. And then Quebec City did Odyssey, which is like even better. So we're looking at iterations that are always improving. Maybe they're, and some people could say the the franchise was starting to stagnate, but I
It was. It 100% was.
I think story-wise and character-wise, it was stagnating. System-wise, it wasn't as much.
Okay.
I think Black Flag, like the ship and the naval battle, was great. The free roam in Assassin's Creed 3 was greatly improved, but I think as soon as we lost Ezio, it started to like.
Well, it was the end of the Desmond timeline too that I think really threw them all, and they didn't really know where to go yet, so they started trying all these things left, right, and center.
Yeah.
And I think by taking it back to the origins, to going before the Assassins and the Templars were a thing, that's really what they needed to do in order to like have a blank slate. Plus, everybody forever wanted a game set in Egypt, and then going from Egypt to ancient Greece is just the next logical step.
Yeah, they're really going after the worlds that I feel they wanted to tackle, but maybe couldn't because of technology. And I mean, you have to think that like, you know, Assassin's Creed is built on the games on Assassin's Creed 1 and 2 and like old code and old engines, so they probably had to build their narrative choice engine like from scratch or bake into. Because when you load the game, it still says which game engine it is, and it's the same old-ass game engine, so that means they had to, like, build systems and test systems and optimize systems. So it's a lot of work that maybe they wanted to do for Syndicate and Origins, and maybe they just couldn't.
Quite possible.
But I'm still happy that, like, they took bold choices. In Origins, they took really bold choices, character-wise, story-wise.
Even development-wise, because there was barely any loading. Right? You would climb up at the top of the pyramids, do the synchronization point, see for days, and, you know, very, very few loading screens.
It's honestly like it is Destiny level skyboxes.
Yeah.
Like just the way that when you're standing on top of something and like Leah said, you see forever.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like it's really, really, really crazy how they managed to handle that on. I was in PS4 Pro, so I don't know on regular PS4 or regular.
I
Xbox
played on a
One.
regular PlayStation 4, and to see something of that scope on this generation, quote unquote, of console, I was actually surprised. I expected the long load times because I knew the game was just humongous, and it's with that kind of scope and decor and everything, is that, oh my god, am I going to have to really stutter a lot or anything? And I was actually surprised that even on my OG PS4, except very, very tiny little times, never had any stutter, frame rate drops, or anything like that. Very, very few in my 105 hours.
Cool.
I did have some things. I played on both Xbox One X and a Day One Edition Xbox. And on the Day One Edition Xbox, sometimes characters wouldn't pop in until the last minute. So it was almost like little figurines that were like not full renders. Like, they'd be there. So I'm like, but I knocked that up to this very old Xbox One that, you know, soon needs to be put to rest. That thing's been used and abused. Okay. So continuing on the idea of this dual characters, it's not the first time we've had a female lead for Assassin's Creed either. We had Aveline de Grand Pré back in Liberation, of course, with Evie Fry. It was really interesting during Origins to have Bayek's counterpart. What was her name, Kat?
Aya.
Aya, right.
His wife.
But
spoilers.
The first thing.
I'm gonna play it after.
You learned that in the past hour.
Spoiler, not a spoiler. But yeah, having a powerful, badass female lead was pretty amazing. That's why I ended up picking her. But then, Catherine, do you think that Cassandra as Deimos had just as much power being the villain?
Yeah, I do. Because what I really like about Assassin's Creed Odyssey is that you don't feel the gender of the character. You just feel their personalities. And I kind of like that Deimos, no matter if it's Alexios or Cassandra, they kind of wear the same armor. And they just look like this force of evil. And it's, and I think it shows a lot because there's also a lot of characters that have a lot of power in this game, including Myrine, which is your mom. The this is the spoiler cast, so I'm not gonna stop myself. So
Spoil.
yeah, 'cause
Spoil away. Sorry, guys.
You spend a lot of the game chasing after your mom, and then you find them, and then you realize like she's been a fucking pirate. She was now
Well,
the
she's
leader of an
badass.
island.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Coolest mom.
And she's just
No
like, you meet
competition.
her, and there's this emotional moment, and she breaks down, and she's just like, oh my god, my child. And you're just like, your other child's also alive. And she's like, we gotta save him. And you're like, I know. And then you go. And it's just like, there's a lot of powerful characters, and I've never. It's the first game where I don't feel like anybody's gender is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in fucking set in ancient Greece, and people are like, yeah, you know, like historical accuracy. Well, historical accuracy would be like there would be a way more. I'm sorry, butt fucking little boys. 'cause
Yeah, I
that's
was
what they
gonna
did in
say everyone
Athens.
fucked everyone in Greece. So
Yeah, that's
So, and at one point, it's about telling a good story.
yeah.
And also, in real life, there's no such thing as, you know, the Isu and Animus and things like that. It's a video game, so let's have fun. So yes,
Yeah.
Cassandra's Deimos is good. Cassandra's as the Misthios is good. Cassandra is good. We love Cassandra.
I'll be super honest though. I felt that some of the items were kind of immersion breaking for me.
Like?
Like the fucking fire horse.
Come on,
That
it's a
you
video
get?
game.
Cool.
No,
Brilliant.
I know,
Yeah,
but
but-
I made a conscious choice to not use that horse because I'm like, it kind of breaks my immersion. Because
Well-
It's the Pegasus or nothing, man.
I know it breaks your fall damage,
Oh,
but I
somebody-
was really, I don't know, there was just something to me that I know it's a video game, I know everything's exaggerated, and I know that they jump from thousands of feet in the air and they don't die.
That's what I was
But
about to say. I was like, that didn't break your
I know,
immersion?
no, because they fall in leaves.
Also,
Just
is
like in
Cassandra,
real life.
is Cassandra the only person who can swim in all of Greece? Just saying, when I roundhouse
Oh my
kick someone
God.
off a boat,
I don't know.
can't they swim?
I don't know.
Anyways.
Testicles.
Testicles.
Drowned.
What a weird fucking name.
Swim to save his life.
I forgot about that
He
one.
fucking died.
No, but I don't know. There was like learning about the first Assassin's Creed I played with all the Isu and gods and everything, and I was like, I want to know more about that. And I think this is interesting, but to me, I'm like,
Yeah.
is it really an Assassin's Creed game with all that stuff happening about like gods and Atlantis and all that? Like,
It is.
I don't know. It felt kind of weird, like because I haven't played the other one. I'm gonna go into Origins. I'm guessing Origins has
You
that
thought it was
kind of
based on
stuff
reality?
either.
But it might
Well,
have been
I
a
knew
matter
that
of
there was. I knew that there was some
Solid
weird shit
gods,
because
right?
clearly we're used in the future, going back to the past and all that stuff. So of course I knew there was like weird stuff, but it was still kind of rooted in reality for me.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when I first started doing the Atlantis quest, and then I started getting like Fire Horse, I'm like, oh, it's what the,
Fire
what the, I don't know, a little just little tiny little thing for me that I was like, I would have liked if everything stayed kind of maybe supernatural, but not as overly supernatural as I'm on a fucking flaming horse, and people are just like, oh hey misthios, how's it going? What's up, man? I'm like, my horse on fire, what the fuck?
But you can get a flaming horse too as part of one of the packs, the Underworld pack.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it doesn't
but,
make it any better.
But you can.
But it's
You could just say, it's a skin. Maybe you put magic on your horse, and you're the only one who can see it.
Ended up not using the Fire Horse anymore because I'm just gonna use a nice Phobo skin that looks
so
cool.
what did you use?
Spartan one, I don't remember.
How
Okay.
dare you? What's wrong with the Pegasus?
Pegasus,
No fall damage, Simon.
it's white.
Microtransaction.
My aesthetic is
it ha-
dark red, and white does not fit my aesthetic.
Okay, I guess
Oh.
jumping off of cliffs doesn't bother you, falling into your plummeting to your death. That's fine.
But
Yes.
I'm gonna say, as somebody who's played every Assassin's Creed game, and every time I meet the Isu, I'm like, who are you? What are you doing? Explain to me more. I need more
Yeah.
of this lore.
Yeah.
When it was like in our face a bit in Origins and a lot in Odyssey, I was like, yes, feed me.
All right,
Feed
I
me.
think Catherine's bringing us into a good point. It's time to start talking about the story of Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yeah.
So, in a nutshell, our
There's
hero,
peanuts.
whoever you choose, was apparently kicked off the side of the mountain by her dad or his dad. And then the other character we thought was dead. And then you spend the whole game searching for your mom and then searching for your brother or sister, your sibling. I guess
Your
I should keep
sibling,
it
yeah, at this point.
gender neutral, right? 'Cause it's
Yeah.
gonna get real confusing real fast. So, how familiar are you guys with the Odyssey? Familiar at all? Like the legit one? Like
Homer's
or-
Odyssey.
Yeah.
Homer's
Homer's
Odyssey.
Odyssey, very little, to be honest. So some of the themes, of course, like we always know, like when someone talks about Greek tragedy, oh, okay, there's gonna be separation, there's gonna be family drama, there's gonna be
It's always
one,
like,
if not a lot of people dying, that's for sure. But
it's always to avoid a prophecy, you do something that ends up fulfilling the prophecy.
Yep.
Like Oedipus
Can't escape it.
killing
Yeah.
his dad and marrying his mom.
So
I'm sorry,
I went
what?
and looked online to see if there was
Betting his
anything.
dad, and what did you do for his mom? You know that one quest?
Oh, I did that
And
one.
his
Yeah.
dad?
Yeah, I fulfilled that prophecy.
Okay. So I
And
went
then you kill his mom. Yeah, oh, you just said that.
Yeah. So I went and looked online to see and actually Googled, is Assassin's Creed Odyssey an Odyssey?
Like
So-
Homer's Odyssey.
Like Homer's Odyssey. So I went and looked up and I found a really good article by someone at Eurogamer. Stephanie Clark is the author, and she actually breaks down Homer's Odyssey and compares it to a lot of the things that happen in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, such as all the different battles, the war, the romance, battling some mythical beasts, a cyclops.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a
perhaps?
Cyclops somewhere in Odyssey.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, that I know.
So
Just one?
you can say that it is pretty close in calling this an Odyssey, a grand adventure, a grand epic adventure, as many people like to say, and the word epic being prolifically used. She talks about this in this article as well, which I think is pretty fascinating. It's kind of crazy that I think this actually worked out really well in Ubisoft's favor to be able to go and do all these crazy things, be it the nitty gritty, like trying to find your mom, or going to fight Medusa. So it's kind of interesting that they were able to take something that, you know, based in, I guess is a fictional poem from back in the 700 BC.
it's
but
literally called an epic.
yeah, it's essentially everything that they put into this game. So let's talk about the story. How'd you guys feel about it? I think we need to get into like the ending and then the real ending too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
where do you
dude.
want to start with all this?
I feel like a lot of people focus on the family ending, and when you finish the family,
That was, yeah, sorry.
That's
That for me was my, like,
okay.
ending.
Yeah, not
Okay.
me, because I fucking kill everyone.
Okay, all right. That's pretty interesting. So throughout
Oh.
this game, the decisions that you make definitely impact how things play out at the end, especially at the one scene at the end with the family. Now, I didn't realize that that's where it was coming to. So I had killed part of my family and not everybody. So I got a middle of the road ending.
I killed everyone.
So you
Oh,
killed.
I
for
got
you.
the best one.
Oh,
I
yes.
saved everyone. I got the
Me
nice
too, me
family
too, me too.
reunion.
Me too.
I'm
Dad,
so
me
like
too.
anal for that because it's like their trio. It's a you know, a daughter, a son, and a mom, and that's like what my disposition is. And I'm like, I gotta save them.
Yeah, but I didn't do it on purpose.
Man, when you were telling me your choices, I was cringing, and I was
I
like,
wanted
rooting
to
for him.
save the family. I don't know
Listen,
how I
it's
could have
your
done
Odyssey,
differently.
Though, so it's perfect the way you did it, and
No,
it was meant to be the way
No, it's
did it.
dumb. It's literally like at the end, I choose between two things, and then you go, okay, you choose between, and then if you either fucking kill everyone or everybody lives.
It felt.
Ah,
I don't not rushed, but it just felt.
yes.
Yeah, can we
Yes.
say rushed? It
Yes.
felt, you know, all of a
Definitely
sudden
rushed.
you're just you convinced Demos that
Yeah, by saying two things.
He's not for, you know, the cult of Cosmos and all that. Like, come back to your family after years of growing up and loathing his family, knowing that he's,
Brainwashing?
like abandoned, completely brainwashed. Series of just like a short, you know, little conversation. It's like, oh yeah, we're okay. I just felt
Well,
I loved it.
I
loved
feel
it.
like
I did it,
that's
but-
probably why my ending doesn't feel as rushed. Because there's I don't know if did you go see it online?
I did.
But-
I
but-
went to see all the endings.
Yeah, like but basically,
For all the endings?
basically Deimos is like, yes, you're right. I'm so sorry. Come here, mom. JK, stab, and then you fight him. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I feel like they're
Yeah.
going into this family.
So
hug
mine
and
is
he,
almost
like, goes all
better
evil.
because you're
And
like,
they
he's
grab
like,
your-
oh yeah,
Grab
it's
her
true,
by
I'm
the back
good.
of the head, and they just go. It's fucking
Yeah.
gruesome.
It's brutal.
It's fucking brutal.
I was in bed
Yeah,
like half
I was-
asleep, just being
That's
like,
better
I'm
than
gonna
just,
go
like-
watch the extra endings I didn't get.
I was
didn't do
yelling.
that. That's
I was
great.
just in bed like,
Yeah.
Deimos,
Yeah.
no.
But it almost feels like that's the canon ending.
Yeah.
Because, like you
Yeah.
said, Deimos becoming all friendly, lovey-dovey at the end almost makes no sense because he never, like, you never really see. The only time you see doubt in Deimos is when he first finds out that you're alive, when you first meet the cultists in the thingy. So,
But is that enough to completely change?
No, it's
everything
not.
he's already known,
That's why I'm
you know?
saying
Like, everything that he grew
the
up, all
ending
that
where everyone dies
hatred for his family, you know,
is the canon ending.
Yeah, I could see that now. I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah,
I
don't
know.
go watch
It
the
makes
video. You're gonna
sense.
cry, Alice, if you watch it.
Be-
It's
be
fucking brutal.
honest, like I don't know, like I got the ending where he goes and he's like, I've done a lot of terrible things, and then he's like, come on, and they're hugging each other and let's
Yeah.
go home and have dinner.
They do
And I
that.
say-
That's exactly
oh, it's
what
okay.
happens.
You killed like half the Greek, population. No.
Yeah.
Dinner.
Ella.
And then
No
I
comment.
saved Nikolaus, which is your stepdad, by the
Did
way,
it?
Mhm.
and
I couldn't
and my
kill him.
stepbrother Stentor, and we're at
I
dinner,
killed-
and not only is Deimos okay and a normal person now, he's
Yeah, and he starts wrestling
super
with Stentor,
friendly,
and you're like,
with Stentor, and I'm like, you've known each other 5 minutes, like it's
It's awkward.
literally
It's
30
the
seconds of
worst
game.
ending.
maybe
I
back
changed my
then,
mind.
I
they were
don't know
just
because
weird with let bygones
But-
be bygones, just water under the bridge.
All right,
just-
keep it in now, guys, because I don't. It gets hard to follow for those
Yeah.
because we're talking over each other.
Sorry.
Sorry,
Bad.
but I'm gonna say this: when you save all your families, you get the best lieutenants for your ship.
Oh,
yeah,
the,
yeah.
the banter is so good.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, the
Very
banter
true.
is crazy, but I don't know because I was airing all of you different viewings of all this ending, and personally, me with the Alexios trying to get Cassandra back, the all the way the story unfolded, the multiple really battles that you got to her at the end, when really you reach a point where you're like, okay, it needs to be real. You see it coming, of course, that now it's going to be like the final conflict. This is where everything happens. To me personally, and the way they were interacting, the dialogue, the way it was actually delivered brilliantly, I really felt the weight of everything. And when finally you kind of reach to her and really bring her back to the common sense, if you want, I really connected so much personally that I was actually surprised. And even the going back to normal kind of felt good because the performance were so awesome that you really started doing from the really strong, gonna kill everyone, and really slowing back and gradually coming to her senses, and at the end just cracking like crazy and reuniting with her family. That I'm actually surprised that I seem to be like the only person in our little group to actually even the best ending. It was not like as epic as everyone dying, of course, but in terms of like the deliveries and the connections and the personality and everything, I feel like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, no, this is really my love of the Greek tragedy thing. That, oh, okay, and I felt like I had a big smile on my face, and then I was like, okay, that's cool, and then it just continued laughing because, of course, like Catherine said, when I just got my family as lieutenants and here then the banter on the boat, I was like, okay, no, this is the greatest choice I couldn't have done.
If we wanted this to be a true Greek tragedy, though, the good ending is where everybody dies.
That's,
Yeah,
that's
no,
more
that's
the
true.
point.
Really.
I find it wasn't a bad ending in the point that it was badly written or badly performed. It was just
No.
very anticlimactic.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. Okay. So going into that ending, and you finished it, and then you go out afterwards, and you're talking to some of the other characters, and then you realize the credits aren't rolling. Because that's not the true ending of the game. Atlantis is the true ending of the game, in my opinion.
It is.
I don't know how you guys feel, but I felt like that was actually like when you got into the mythical beast stuff, and that's when you got some of the best battles of the game.
I saw a tweet by somebody who was like, for all of those who got Assassin's Creed Odyssey at Christmas, he was like, here's what you need to do. Play as Cassandra, reunite the family, and then kill all the cultists, and then seal Atlantis.
Yeah.
Go, enjoy. And I couldn't agree more. Well, play as Cassandra as Alexios. No bad choice. But for once, we got a lady. Consider her. But seriously, it's more like the family is, you get that shit out of the way. Basically, like, that was your trauma. You reunite with your family. You heal yourself. Then you got to take care of the cult because they're chasing you. Fuck them. That ending was very lackluster too.
Yeah, for real.
Yep.
It was just like, like the leader's like, the cult was falling apart. Thanks for that. I'm just like, okay, stab, give me your crown. Cool.
And I fucking knew it was her too.
Everybody.
I actually
Not me.
haven't finished all
I
the
knew.
cultists yet because I just wanted to know what was happening because I didn't have the patience at that point after finishing Atlantis. I didn't think I was going to play anymore. And I went and watched it and I was like, fucking do it.
I
Do
knew
you know what I mean?
because like just the way that you don't see her at first, but like just the way that like her hand is with the mask, I'm like, okay, it's a girl.
It's a
for
girl.
sure.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
like, it's either your mom or it's that other only girl in your story that had any impact, and that
When it
was
says she longs for freedom, I was like, yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
it's her. It's,
Also, I find it very comical that you can flirt with her. Before
I know it's so weird.
I was just like,
Flirt with
no, I
everybody.
loved it. I was just like, that is
I didn't.
hilarious. Like,
You could. I didn't do it, but you could.
I flirted with everybody.
I was
Okay,
like,
let's get into all the cool characters because, of course, Assassin's Creed isn't Assassin's Creed unless it throws in some names of some historical individuals. I enjoyed listening to Socrates and his
Same.
weird way of having
Same.
odd conversations. That cracked me up.
Yeah.
And then Alcibiades.
Alcibiades.
That's how you pronounce
Ali.
his name. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
my man,
yeah.
Albie. We fucked a lot.
Any chance we
Understatement.
got.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
like the only time I roleplay Cassandra as bisexual.
Yeah.
Right here.
I rejected a couple of dudes. I'm
That
not gonna-
first time you meet him too in that party, and then it's him with a bunch of other people who are scantily clad and a goat, and you're like, what?
I'm
Well
like,
then.
there's
Hey,
my
double
first
Lenin
big
Greece.
orgy.
Lenin Greece.
Yeah.
Go time.
Ancient Greece.
Any other characters you guys really enjoyed?
Okay.
Testicles.
Sorry.
Testicles.
I've
Come
been
on.
waiting. Well, yeah, him too, but I've been waiting. Brasidas.
Brasidas.
Oh,
yes.
Brasidas.
Yeah.
The moment he comes in the burning barn and helps you out, I was like, I want a bone.
Same.
I want a
Same.
bone. I want a bone. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I fell in love with this character. He was just kind of aloof, kind of just like, very like, I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna do this. This is for the greater good, but kind of just like, maybe not all there, kind of. But his death was so
I'm
sudden
really sad.
and unwarranted,
Yeah.
and I'm pissed about it.
Yeah.
And you can't even you don't really get to fully develop his see who Brasidas really is. And I just really wanted to bone him, and I couldn't, and I was mad.
You don't really get a chance to mourn him either
No,
because it happens
at
at
all.
a peak moment in a battle and you just need to turn and deal with Deimos.
Yeah. He dies, and that's the end of
You'd
that.
never
You
see
mourn
him
him
again.
as my good friend passes away, whatever, but you don't do anything else for him.
Mhm.
Yeah, but the only reason why I can apologize for this is that now I'm gonna say it. Phoebe, everyone.
Phoebe.
I thought for sure she was going to be the next assassin. Gareth
too.
frickin' Teed, and then she's dead, and I'm like, mind blown.
Yeah.
I was
no.
so like I remember
Yeah.
I was playing it, and like my girlfriend was in the room. She was watching me play it, and like when we saw it happen, I dropped the controller and I just went like this, and then like I think I didn't move for a good like 10 minutes because I was in shock. And like I remember the last time I was that in shock at a game.
Yep.
It was I was, holy shit, they killed the child, you know?
No one is safe.
It was
It's
I
Game
knew,
of Thrones.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that was the main decision that made me kill fuck, what's her name? The cultist. Aspasia? Anyway.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, because you don't, it's not time. So I'm like, I'm just gonna Google because I already killed my family and fucking everyone. I'm like, I'm just gonna Google what happens if And then the first result that came up was remember Phoebe, and I'm like, yeah, fuck you.
Yeah.
And then I killed her. Yeah, fuck that.
I got that spoiled for me in the form of like a really like emotional comic, and I was like, damn it.
That she's
I
that
was-
Aspasia or that Phoebe dies.
No, that Phoebe passes.
Oh,
I
jeez.
was moments away from actually. I had the tweet written being like, "Guaranteed Phoebe is the next assassin," and then I saw her die, and I was like, "Delete."
Oh, you would have tweeted that. I would have texted
my
you like,
God.
girl.
I would have like
girl.
spammed a bunch of crying emojis.
Yeah,
What?
exactly.
I was
So I
like,
spoiled
you-
myself.
I think
All
all
right.
of Twitter would have gone and answered delete this.
So
Yeah.
sad. It would have been cool.
That would have been fucking amazing.
Mhm.
I think the way she passes too is just so like, I don't know. It feels like maybe if I go back and like try to do a different route, I
Mhm.
could potentially save her. And I looked through hours, how could I save Phoebe?
You can't.
But
But
Yeah.
no, that was one of the events that really took like the Odyssey level
Yep.
one point, and at the end, now you're committed. Everyone, I think, who play this game and reach this point, if you reach this, you go to the end because you just
Yep.
You have to see it. Yeah.
You have
I
to
like
see it.
pissed
You
at
have
this
to get
point.
you get to get
bulldoze
the
the
venge.
story.
No, you gotta have the vengeance against Phoebe. That's just
Mhm.
It felt good killing Aspasia, but after that, I had to like, I actually like, I saved my game and I closed it for the night, and I was like, I'm okay.
no, yeah.
Cried a bit. I'm just so emotional.
Being
about
a
this
father
game.
of 5 daughters, I can tell you that during this
Ooh.
scene, my heart was pounding like crazy, and I really had to take a minute to breathe because, oh my God, I just connected so much.
She's the one character that I found that I actually connected with more than the like I connected with the main character, obviously, because you're playing that and it's kind of like you're superimposing yourself onto it, but more so than my mother, my father, my brother, my any of the other characters. But I think it's because she's a child and all she wanted to do was for Cassandra or Alexios to like her, right?
Yep.
To
Yeah.
feel
Save them.
useful, because she wanted to feel useful and not be treated like a child, and she tried to be as helpful as she could, and often she was, and then it just became too much for her because she's a child, right?
Yeah, and with the way the technology is, the way they were able to actually animate her and make her really alive and emotional and everything, I think I've seen that only once in one other game. That's it, that's all. And it was Detroit Become Human with a little girl that we've all seen like in the trailers and everything.
Mhm.
And now the way that the combination of how Phoebe was played in the setting that she was on and what she had to deliver again and everything. We're going back to what we said earlier. It just made her so lovable, so even charismatic to a point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and to me, it's like it's the first and really the only thing that it's not true, not the only thing, but one of the only things in the game that I did not expect to happen. When they were bringing her and like it was like, okay, well, they're gonna do something to her, but I'm like, no, well, they can't kill Phoebe. It's a child. They can't kill Phoebe. That's not gonna happen. It's still a video game. They're not gonna kill a child. And they fucking did, and I was like, oh my God, this is real now.
The performance of the
Yeah.
misthios.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about
Man.
Alexios, but Cassandra made me fucking cry.
Oh yeah, it was emotional,
Well,
very emotional.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, Alexios, he was really like stoic in the sense where he just kind of like froze, and then he got up, and his face was wet, and he just kind of like did a thing, and just kind of like you could see that it was just like he couldn't breathe for like 3 minutes, and I realized I wasn't breathing either.
Yeah, the inner turmoil, you could see it, even though it's a digital character. You could totally see it.
It was
really well done.
Such a moment, and it was heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
And this is what I mean when now they're making bold choices. And it wasn't a scene for the sake of shock value. It was well thought out. It was well acted, and it served a purpose. The story it was built in the
to
narrative.
fuel that hatred and whatnot in your player when you inevitably find Aspasia, like right after her death. You can go and accuse her right away and blame it on her, that it's it's her fault that Phoebe died. And then she's just like, no, like I gave her the responsibility. I treated her like an adult, and this was her decision to do that. And you kind of be like, well, my Cassandra was like, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm just taking it out on you. You're right. That's all she ever wanted, was to be treated like,
But she wasn't an
us.
adult. She's not an adult. So it's kind of hard. As much as you say the kid wants to be treated as an adult, the kid's not an adult because it doesn't know how to rationalize. So putting her in that situation screws with her so much. It's not fair.
But it makes the game is written such in a way where you sympathize with Aspasia too. You're just like, oh yeah, you're right. Okay. I'm whatever. I'm exaggerating and freaking out about this, but take a minute to step back and think about it and be like, no, man, that's on you. That's totally
You're the adult.
It's on you. Like this is not her. Treat her like an adult, but also don't, because she's a child. She doesn't know what's good for her. So it's on you, and you deserved to die really easily. By the way.
Any other story points?
Hero striked her in the face.
Yeah, that's true. Any other story moments that you guys want to bring up before we start talking about the gameplay?
But
the end of Atlantis, I think we kind of skipped over it.
Let's get into that.
Why it's the real ending? Because you actually pop out of the Animus. And ties in with
I'm gonna have it completely.
Why is the person in the Animus looking for things? That's like one of the biggest Assassin's Creed trope. Is somebody in an Animus reliving the life of somebody to get some information and get that goal. If you don't pop out of the Animus, you're not at the end of the game.
I totally forgot that the Animus was even a thing. I don't know about you guys, because it was only so many brief times. But I totally forgot you were playing somebody in the Animus.
Same.
I'm not used to it either, right? This is my first Assassin's Creed that I completely finished, and I'm just like, you pop out and you play as a Layla Hassan. I was like, can I go back?
And then you have no powers and you're trying to climb things and you're like, why can't I do stuff?
Also, what really kind of triggered me is like they have the same voice when they're jumping and stuff like that. And I was just like, damn it, that sounds like Cassandra.
Well, she's a descendant.
That's a different. Oh,
yes.
You didn't know? Do you know the concept of Assassin's Creed?
Yeah, so it's all
Kat.
descendants. They're all basically, so the Isu.
She has Cassandra's blood?
Yeah.
Bloodlines.
Yeah.
Every assassin is related.
Yeah. So basically the Isu are like an alien race that came to Earth and created the humans. So the humans see them as gods. So they've been skinned as like, if you're in Egypt, they've been skinned as the Egypt god. In Greek, they've been skinned as the Greek god. So when they talk about Poseidon, they actually talk about an Isu. But when you first meet them and hear about them in the first games, they have the Roman names, like Jupiter and things like that. Juno's the big one. So anyway, and they're controlling humans with the artifacts, like the Apple of Edens. And these artifacts, basically Adam and Eve are the first two humans to mutate in a way that they resist the Isu's control. And those two are the first that started the bloodline of the assassins. So, Deimos, Alexios and Cassandra, basically, Bayek, and
Ezio,
Ezio,
Evie,
Connor,
Jacob,
all of them, and including Desmond and Layla, are descendants of Adam and Eve.
So
This-
essentially, the reason they can jack into these people, like jacking into the Matrix, is because they have the same DNA. So when they get into the Animus, they're essentially channeling the stories of these people that actually happened. And the reason why they are trying to get in there is because they're trying to go and find these pieces of Eden, because that will control the world. So you have the assassins still living, and then the Templars, who are the villains, who are trying to control the world.
Yeah, so they're basically trying. The Templars are basically trying to redo what the Isu tried to do, which was to absolute control. So, as in the ones that started resisting, that broke free from the total rule, created the assassins to embrace the chaos. And you have some Isus that kind of like broke off from that mentality too, and are trying to help. So Juno is one of them. I think, if I remember correctly. I'm a bit fuzzy on Assassin.
It's been a while.
On the Ezio storyline with Desmond, because it's been a while. But at the end of Assassin's Creed 3, that's when that Desmond story culminates, and you get.
Damn.
So that's why
Yeah.
I'm super excited when we pop out of the Animus. I'm like, yes, what is happening? Explain to me what's going on, because they feed us that main storyline that goes throughout the whole franchise, drop by drop by drop. And when you're in, is it Assassin's Creed 2 or Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, when you piece together the story of Adam and Eve?
I think that's the last one of Desmond, because that's kind of the culmination in all of it.
So it's an Assassin's Creed 3.
Yeah.
Where you...
No, Brotherhood. Desmond ends in Brotherhood.
No, he dies at the end of Assassin's Creed 3.
Spoilers. No, I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
no, I thought
It's a spoiler cast. I'm going to spell all the games.
Okay, see that information is completely lost on someone who just starts.
Yeah.
Like their first Assassin's Creed is
I was
Odyssey.
super confused.
And it's
I'll-
incredibly unfortunate, because you tell me this now, I feel like I have missed like a huge chunk of the story. And I tried to piece it together. Mind you, I should have done my own research
Yeah.
offline, without playing and like read whatever. But man, going into that part and coming out of the Animus and like piecing together, like, okay, so there was like a big thing over here in London, and I'm not really 100% sure what happened, but like, she's a scientist and she has her partners and everybody she trusts. Miss that good juicy kind of content, and like it's too much to put it all back into Odyssey for like the player to catch up again,
Yeah.
I strongly
But
recommend on YouTube, there's a video,
Sad I missed it.
complete
Yeah.
timeline of Assassin's Creed. And that video is like 20 minutes. It goes through
Yeah.
the entire Desmond Isu timeline, and then goes to the entire each Assassin's Creed, how they, what Edward did in Black Flag and how it ties into this and what's
Yeah, but like I didn't want to, because I know I'm gonna play Origins, so I kind of don't want to watch that video because I'm like,
I don't,
then I'm-
honestly, though, I don't think it really changes too much, because I think they realized with Origins and Odyssey that they had gotten so far away from that. Like, I felt like they really, after Desmond ended, I felt like the rest of it kind of felt like a shell, and how they were just kind of shoehorning it in. It is a loose connection so that you can see why they chose what they chose. Because the thing is, too, is this is not just the games. You got the comic series. Remember, we've got all those 2D, 2.5D ones. There's books and stuff like that. So there's definitely like a grander... There's a story going on here, right? But
there's a lot of lore that's lost into the I just want to go around and stab people, basically.
And that's
And
really
I almost
sad.
took it for that.
Yeah, and that's really sad, because even me, when I received my my copying of the PR beats and everything, they really kind of insist, quote unquote, that, oh yeah, the important thing is the family. It's the family story, and go with the family. And even me, as trying to do like a game review for Real Game Media, I really jumped on it. I really kind of focused on this particular part of the story. But then, and it's afterward that I loved the game so much that I wanted to actually just continue to play. And afterwards, what I actually did, and I'm really happy I did it. I said, do not get this out. It needs to be redone. And I didn't care, and I really insisted, because it changes the perspective in my head totally of the entire game if you're really just focused on the actual family story, because that's where you miss everything. Because even me, I know all the games, but I didn't play them all like Catherine. And when I saw the video at the end of Atlantis, but I knew them just enough to be able, oh, that's the tower, that's the Egypt, that's the everything. My mind was like, oh my God,
But they're
really
not wrong, Pat. They're not wrong to say that it's about the family, because it is. It's all bloodlines.
it is.
Right?
It
But you
is,
don't. The way they spin it.
it is, but in a way, it's
You'll
not,
see.
because even with this little video, that I realized that even to me, I call that a play on words. That Assassin's Creed Origins, it's not the Origins, because it's actually an Odyssey that it actually starts when you connect everything together. I was like, okay, mind blown.
I
Yeah.
think the Origins, like at the end of Origins, they created the Assassin's Order. I think that's what they mean. But like, you got to realize, like, the origins of Assassin's Creed story is like when the aliens landed and were like, we're gonna create the slave race for us.
Yeah.
So it's basically, it's like an alternate universe type of situation, and that's why your horse can be on fire.
All right, bring it back
Bringing
to
it
me.
full circle.
And Pythagoras actually said it's the simulation of the simulation in the simulation. Or
Okay,
But the
let's-
thing is, if they
Let's
had
not
brought,
get into Matrix Reloaded here.
if they had brought all that to the forefront more, I don't think people would love it as much, because it's been so long since the first Assassin's Creed, since all those stories. And I think during the course of Ezio's story, because he's the only one really that lasts more than like 1-2 games, if they kept dwelling on that concept, I think they would have lost a lot of people. And the thing is what people like about Assassin's Creed is you're jumping into a timeline where you're a badass and you get to go stabby or shoot a bow or shoot 'em up with guns, and just live like an assassin. And people enjoy that just for the therapeutic nature of stabbing something.
I
Going back to
Collect
that
the
time
con.
period.
Yeah, so
It's very important.
Exactly. So that's the connection to get most people in. But when you start breaking down all the things that make it the connection between all the games, you start breaking down the reasons why certain things happen. When you start realizing everything is related, you start thinking about how these games play out and how the stories go very differently.
That's it. They went for the direct hit with the family story. I understand why they did it, because if it's something that someone can relate to, it's the family. We all have a family and this direct bond. So kind of aiming for that particular goal, like, okay, that's good, like for the general public, but this is when the importance of like for the gamers, for the community to really have people really digging into it and see that, look, it's kind of a facade kind of way, because there's so much more.
Well, even in all the games, family is something that is a constant, not just the fact that bloodline. If you think about Ezio, his family is a big part of it. His sister, I remember, is a big part of it. Didn't his family get killed too?
Yeah, so they kill every man in his family. So they killed his father, his young older brother, and his younger brother that's like fucking 12 or 13. He shows up just in time to see them hang by the rope. And
Bayek's raison d'etre is because the Templars killed his son. That happens at the beginning of the game. If you go back, I'm trying to think of all. Connor, it's because of his roots. He's the first one with Native American roots, right? And it's that duality.
And they attack his village because of him.
Exactly, Edward and his backstory because his dad is a Templar, and like
no, sorry, you got that wrong. Connor's dad is a Templar.
I thought
Edward's the grandfather of Connor.
Okay.
So Edward's the only one who's kind of like he's kind of like Captain Jack Sparrow. He's just kind of doing his thing, and he kind of like stumbles into the storyline. But he's a ship of a captain. So basically, he has that family, and eventually settles down, has his family, and then his son is some shit for some reason. Hatham becomes a Templar, goes to America, knocks up a native lady that gives birth to Connor. Sorry, I'm anal. I
So
love
you can-
Assassin's Creed.
You can
guys.
see how family instead of romance becomes
Yeah.
like the thread throughout of all of this, which is quite interesting to see too how that then draws all back to the like semi-naturals or supernatural side of it all.
Yeah.
Can
yeah,
can
it's
can
really
we talk
important.
about continuing the bloodline in the worst way possible, though?
Do we want to get into the DLC yet, or do you want to get into some of the other stuff? Well, we could.
It's already
part
been
of the
spoiled for
story.
me, so.
Yeah. So DLC wise, the first DLC is getting into
First Blade.
Legacy of the
who's
First
going
Blade.
who's going
Yep.
to be the next assassin. And I played through that first bit of DLC and kind of had an idea of where this, knowing the rest of the story, where this trajectory could go.
Yep.
And then there is another piece of DLC that came out, almost like Chapter 2,
Yeah.
that is very controversial right now because one of the main prefaces of Assassin's Creed Odyssey that everybody really liked was the fact that you choose whether you want to play as Alexios or Cassandra, and you also get to choose if and who you would like to romance. So if you want to play the field, if you want to go all heterosexual, if you want to go all homosexual, entirely up to you, which is kind of revolutionary for Assassin's Creed game. Alas, in order to create the story for the DLC Part 2, it sounds like the team at Ubisoft decided to shoehorn in a heterosexual relationship in order to further the bloodline.
Yep.
Now, this has come back with a lot of different reaction from across the interwebs, and to the point where now Ubisoft has apologized because they realize they screwed up and this was not the idea that they wanted to portray in the beginning, and now they're going to attempt to fix it. I don't know how they're going to fix it because it is a piece of DLC that some people have already played through, Simon and Pat included, but it has actually stopped me from wanting to continue the DLC because I am waiting to see what the game plan is. I don't want to shoehorn myself into anything, even though I pretty well screwed everything that walked in that game. So,
Everything that had a pulse.
I rejected a couple of men.
Me too.
I did it.
Me too.
No, not
Not a
me.
one.
And to be honest, I continued to romance some people even after I was done with the episode 2. So it kind of feels weird a bit, but come on, Xenia the pirate. Sorry, I just
True.
had to quit.
When
True.
in
Wait.
Greece.
You can.
Yes, if you do her storyline at the end, you get to screw her.
Yeah.
I gotta get on that.
I just
I didn't know
I
that.
just
I
went
loved
after
her. I think she's so
Kira.
bad.
I just went after Kira and then tried to go after her husband and wanted a
Oh.
three-way, and that
Yeah.
didn't pan out. And I'm like,
Oh,
shit,
I went
wanted the
after
three-way.
I was talking to Kat throughout the whole time, and I was telling her what happened, and I ruined everything. She got the great.
I
Scenario.
saved
I had
everybody.
to kill him.
I saved
Oh.
everybody, but that meant that beautiful Spartan boy broke Alexio's heart by going back to Kira. I was like, I got the good ending, except Alexios was like,
that was the better scenario.
yeah. Anyway, that's another. Do that quest. It's a great quest.
I left that island with everybody hating me. Besides, oh God, my shipmate there, my lieutenant. What's his name?
Barnabas?
But
Barnabas.
Barnabas.
Yeah, he got the love of his life, and I was like, okay, I did okay.
Yeah.
let us sail off and never come back.
Yo, I felt like that story because I got it. I got him his girlfriend too.
Yeah.
Just like, and they're basically like all lovey-dovey on the tail of me having Spartan boy break my heart, and I'm
Yep.
like, great, get on
And
the ship.
I remember meeting his future girlfriend too, and like it's a quest where like she's really wounded, and you have to go and like slay the
Yeah, the
polar bears.
bear.
Yeah,
I got that. I did that.
I was kind of like, okay, I'm gonna think like a misthios, I want money. So I tried to get everything out of her, and it ended up killing her. And I was like, I don't like this ending, so I restarted. Gonna say after whatever you call it. I restarted, and then I let her live, and I'm like, God, I did that.
And she's a great lieutenant on your ship too.
Yeah,
she's
she's
really
Yeah.
good.
fantastic. Well, I don't have her. I can't because I have my family. Oh wait,
Oh.
sorry.
I
I-
killed my family, so that solves
Yeah.
the issue.
But anyway,
Oopsie.
to go back to what we were saying,
Yes.
basically, if you find out that Nikolaos is actually your stepfather because Myrene had a relationship with Pythagoras, and she did it to further the bloodline because she knows, being Leonida's daughter, the bloodline she has to continue from Adam and Eve being
That's a huge burden, man.
being the
Legit.
That's
Isu
huge.
hybrid descendants, whatever they're called.
Ugh.
So I think that's the kind of narrative they wanted to go for the DLC, which is basically we'll give you the options to be romantically involved, depending on what your choices are, and we want to give you the option of maybe just because it's ancient Greece and in vitro fertilization doesn't exist, doing like your mom did and just having a child for the sake of having a child. But I haven't played through
Taking that
it,
burden.
so apparently it was done not tastefully or not well, or maybe
The-
not
What
as
happened?
explicit.
What
enough.
happened? I didn't look it up. What
Okay.
happened?
The throughout the second DLC, you can clearly see this kind of friendship develop between misthios
Sakas.
and the other guy, girl, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like there's clearly friendship there, and you can see that they're getting along, and they have a lot of the same ideas about stuff. So it's fine, but you never flirt with him. You never insinuate really anything. Like there's not even the option to flirt. Like it's not even there.
What?
What?
And it gets a little hurt
I-
next to
I-
it, so
I
you
didn't-
know when you're flirting.
Yeah.
In the
My
first
experience-
DLC, there's no flirting.
I
Wait,
never
there's no
got
flirting.
any flirting at all.
No.
None
There's
whatsoever.
a long stare between who you
Yeah, yeah.
pick and
Yeah,
who you're
there's
supposed to meet.
stairs, and they're looking,
Insinuating, but
but nothing
there's
is spelled out, and you don't have the option to say that I want to romance that person. So
ooh,
There-
and
there-
then-
I didn't know that.
and then
There's
how
not
it
the action, but personally, with my experience as Alexios with the girl, is that you got the stares, you got the closeness, you got the conversations. Even at the very end, you got a point where even in the story you can choose. So that's why maybe some things that not everybody saw it. That I even went before there's like the big separation at the end, with all the fight is done and everything.
yeah, that's horrible too.
Are
to
you
spend
saying?
the-
Hold
to
on a
spend
second.
to spend the night together in a little separated,
but
isolated house.
I
And
don't
you see
f- I-
they're
I don't feel
drinking
like-
and you just don't have like the action explicit.
but
with
I
the
don't
little
feel like
art
that
saying,
meant anything.
Do it.
No
but-
foreplay.
No,
Yeah.
but I don't feel like that meant anything. Like I'm friends with many girls here, and I would do a lot of that stuff with girls.
No,
Doesn't mean that I want to bang him.
No,
like-
that's for sure. That's for sure.
So
Look, it's the same
that
thing
that
for
that
me.
was one thing, and the other thing is that there's false illusion of choice. Whereas when it all ends, you have the choice to let them go. Basically it ends with them leaving Greece. So you can let them go and be like, yeah, that's for the best. You should go, and then I'll go my own way. Or you can decide to say, no, you should stay. Your life is here now. This is what's happening. And I'm like, I don't have they're my friends, but I don't have a connection with them more than just being good friends. So you should go. That's what you need to do, and I'll do my own thing. But then you're like, just kidding, we never left. So you go back to the house, and they're like, yeah, we couldn't leave. So this is not happening. And then it's like sometime later, you literally have a fucking baby in your hand, and you're like, I'm sorry, what the fuck?
So
Where
hold on,
does
I
that
need to go
come from?
back. I need to go back a second. Darius's kid,
Yeah.
depending on if you play Alexios or
Mhm.
Is it
Cassandra, is
female
the
or male?
opposite gender.
Yes.
Yeah.
Natakas
Oh
or
my
Nima?
God.
Yes.
Okay.
Nima is beautiful, by the way.
I
Natakas
haven't met
is
her.
Natakas is cute.
looks
but
like a
He's
fucking
alright.
sack of pennies.
Nima's
but
though.
honestly,
Nima, sorry.
that to me was really annoying because it gave me the illusion that I was choosing something, and if they had presented it to me as in a bit like Mirin did, where she had to do it to continue the bloodline, and it's something that she had to do, but she wasn't agreeing to it, then I would have understood more. But now it's literally just, no, you banged because you're in love and you have a baby now. And you're like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, what?
I
That's
have a-
not
I have a-
choice. That's not at all what my Cassandra would have done. Not
Yeah.
even close.
And
No.
also,
Yeah.
you gotta think, in that time there was a lot of arranged marriage, right? And what Mirin did may sound foreign to us, but back then it was normal. You had a lot of political weddings and women having children with men because it was the political thing to do. And it was just part of life. You kind of like learn to love your partner and things like that. It's not like today where we have Tinder and we need to find the perfect
Love
person.
matches.
But contrasting like
But that's
what we can actually play as.
Yeah,
There's no choice. There's literally no
a
choice.
female assassin.
Yeah.
And the thing is, too, when you think about it, like, okay, a guy could go lay his seed and then go off and continue killing things. A girl?
That's a whole different
'Cause
story.
you get
for 9
stuck
months.
with a belly that's too big for you to move.
Can't go.
No,
you
but
can't go.
the thing
No
is
more
that
jumping off your horse.
no, but the thing
No
is
more.
that you skip that. It literally goes from you have wine with the dad and it's a good time to sometime later where you're going to pick up bread and milk at the store, literally bread and milk at the store, and then come back to Nataka's holding your child, and you're like, "Excuse me, what the fuck?"
Did they put in the a few moments
Yeah.
later meme?
Yeah, literally, like literally, it's
like SpongeBob.
it turns black, and then at the bottom it says sometime later.
Yeah.
I'm not
Oh
even
my
kidding.
God. Oh
Okay.
my God.
No, they didn't. They didn't do it right. They really.
Who
need-
thought that would be? And they're surprised that people are like, "What the fuck?"
It's
You
but,
built
like,
your game
it's-
around the choice
sounds
of the
lazy.
player,
It's
and
lazy.
then you're forcing that decision on people.
It's lazy.
It's not even lazy because, like, even a brain dead animal could have said, "Okay, well, they don't have a choice. So if we want to continue the bloodline, Cassandra's going to be like, okay, well, I don't have a choice, so I have to do it, but I'm totally fucking,
It
like,
would have been
don't
a
want it."
really cool moral dilemma to
Yes.
have to live through.
Yeah.
Not just be like, "Hey, I'm preggo, I'm not anymore, child."
That's too bad.
the choice would have been very much appreciated, not a false choice.
Yeah.
How
you
are they
know?
going to fix this? They say now that they're going to find a way to fix it. How are they
No,
going to do it without wiping
they
it
said
out?
something that it's gonna the decision to romance Antakas or not, or Nima, it'll be more like emphasized. Like you'll have like if you say no, it's no.
I'm scared because
Pretty sure.
it could actually be a new ending, which will be more choice based,
Yeah.
but worse. I'm scared
How do
for
they
you
do
people,
the-
but for you people, meaning you, the person who actually.
What do you mean by you people?
Because now I'm hearing all this, and with the choices that you've done, Simon, I
Yeah.
actually agree to be. If I would have chosen that, I would have been a little angrier than me that actually, without reading anything, I said I would read
Chose
all
that.
the controversy, quote unquote,
Mhm.
after I'm actually done with the DLC.
Mhm.
And then now thinking about it, I was like, okay, I understand
Mhm.
the anger, but me, I'm looking at this, and yeah, we can understand some things of why they did it. You know, the purpose. You know, like the narration where they want to bring it and everything. But of course, like
Sure.
to someone like me who's like, I was my Alexios, I just romanced her. I wanted her. Said, please stay. This is my choice that I actually did. So the ending with the bee is like, okay, and it's kind of funny because what if you want to start playing, just continue playing afterwards. You're really Alexios without any pieces of equipment, and everything is unequipped. You're really just in your sandal and your
Mhm.
robe, and you're just
Yeah.
walking around like, okay, it's funny, but I understand. But in my head, yeah, it's episode 3 that will really kind of make it
Yeah.
or break it through
Yeah.
all this entire thing. And now, if they want to keep what they had in mind, plus trying to repair what they did with episode 2, I just hope that it will not like kind of muddle the end result because
Do we know if they're going to redo the ending of episode 2 or
I
if they're
don't know.
going to adjust episode 3?
from what
I'm
I
not sure.
No, they're going to adjust episode 2.
Yeah, they said the
Oh.
not. They would
from what I
review-
read too, I from what I
Yeah.
understood that I read, yeah, that there's gonna be like the ending that will be tweaked, but at which point? I'm
They-
not
Oh,
sure.
I understood
They
the opposite.
No, they said they would rethink the non-romantic options for the non-romantic dialogue. So I think what you live through, Pat, is like, okay, that's fine. That's not the
That's
problem.
your decision.
Yeah.
It's really the non-romantic options. I don't know what they're gonna do because to be honest, like this is the first Assassin's Creed game that has this idea of player choice and player impact. Before that, like, Origins is a wonderful game, but you're basically playing the story of Bayek and Aya, and that's it.
Yeah. Straightforward.
Very straightforward, but that's what Assassin's Creed has always been. And, you know, it's been about just playing through the stories of these people and having a bit of the story of the people in the present, playing those stories of people in the past to learn more about the present to stop a calamity. Which is basically what the end of Assassin's Creed 3 is. So when people started freaking out about the second episode and being like, I'm being forced into this narrative, my reaction was like, oh, so you had a story. You've built Assassin's Creed, which has always been this linear thing and always counted on people having babies and continuing this bloodline, and you gave people the options of being gay in a world where
and then you take that
where the
away.
only
Took
way to
that
have
away.
a child is the natural way. How do you work around this? And basically they didn't know how.
It would have been
It re-
so much better just to replay what Cassandra's mom went through and make them make the same choices because of the furthering of the bloodline, but not to shoehorn them into a relationship.
Or like
Yo,
maybe
it
bring
doesn't
in the sibling too.
It
You
doesn't
know,
even need to be because we know that
true.
we know that Cassandra lives for 1,000 years after it's fucking done, so she could wait 1,000 years before having a baby to be in vitro or whatever the fuck you want to
That's
call it.
true.
Like she
That's
doesn't even
true,
need to
that's
have kids. She
true.
can wait.
She's
That's
at the end
true.
of the Atlantis ending.
She
I
is.
forgot.
She's 1,000
She lives
years
forever
old.
because of
it required a bit more. Like it
Finesse?
just yeah.
Yes.
Like we can all understand why it was done, but coming from someone who's never played any other Assassin's Creed, like I'm sorry, I have a biased opinion on all this. It's just like, well, come on, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
If I'm sorry, like, you know, after having, you know, you guys telling me, you know, the true story of Assassin's Creed and everything like that, I'm a bit more invested in that part of the game. But someone who's just experienced Odyssey because they want to play a female character and have her romance whoever, ugh, it feels so forced and just so unnatural and so takes away all the role-playing fun.
Yeah. Well,
But I understand why. But
yeah, I think we all understood. I think we all get why. It's just that because it was so mishandled and because Odyssey was getting such praise for the ability to have choice and to do what you want or to be like me and just screw everything with legs, then, you know, like you could see why this hit the fan. So we will wait and see, because this is the first time we are dealing with an Assassin's Creed as well that is not a one shot and done. It's actually they're continuing it and kind of making it live like a game as service as a narrative story, which is kind of interesting. So we'll have to see how it all pans out.
Yep.
But we need to talk about the gameplay, because for those of us who have lived through many Assassin's Creed, this was a change. Now, Kat, I have to say, after going through Origins, which I said last year, one of my game of the year, because I felt like this was bringing Assassin's Creed back into the limelight, bringing it back to what I loved about Assassin's Creed 2. But obviously that was 10 years ago, so it was a little different, like what gameplay was like.
Has it been
But
10 years already?
something like that. So I felt like that was the pinnacle of Assassin's Creed. I had not played The Witcher. I still haven't played The Witcher 3. I had not played Dragon Age Inquisition. I know, you guys can all laugh at me. But I had played Zelda Breath of the Wild.
I'm not.
And this was like someone turned the light bulb on above my head. So what did you think? Do you think that they did take the best of all these games that had gone by and the best things about Assassin's Creed and meshed it together?
Yeah. Because honestly, I was talking with my friends who started playing around when I started playing. And they were, my friend Alex did a fire build. Very heavy warrior, kind of would sneak in, pick a few fights, and then just be like a lot of damage output. Well, I did a build that was very much stealth and assassins heavy because I wanted to play that kind of gameplay. One of the things I didn't like with Syndicate was like Evie was like the stealthy character and Jacob was like the brawler.
Mm-hmm.
And their combat wasn't as fine-tuned, and I wasn't enjoying Jacob, to be honest. What I really, really enjoyed about Origins and Odyssey was that I could still find that super stealthy build. I did, as Bayek, I did a lot of sniping with a Predator bow, and then just some sneaking up and stabbing and throwing people off the wall. I love that classic move, just like hanging from the ledge. Stab, bye, okay,
Classic.
get up.
Oh yeah.
So
I
true.
love that so much.
Been
Stabby
doing that since
simulator.
Assassin's Creed 2. So in Odyssey, I went for that kind of build, and I felt completely at home. And talking to my friend Alex, who did more of a build that was more akin to Geralt in The Witcher and things like that, more hard-hitting, with a bit of stealth on the side, just because it helps. I realized we were building completely different people, playing completely differently, and having a very different experience. But that's the kind of experience he wanted. He wanted to go balls to the wall. And I wanted to, by the time I left the fort, everybody was dead and nobody saw me.
Now, for the rest of y'all, obviously, you guys didn't play much Assassin's Creed prior. You don't have that context. But you probably had a fair idea talking about games, listening, hearing things about Assassin's Creed of how the game style was. Was the fact that this game now was taking from the games like Witcher 3 and Dragon Age Inquisition did that influence your decision of why you decided to start playing? Or was it just a happy coincidence and then it just kind of panned out that way?
Personally, for me, it was exactly what you said. The fact that I can play was more open world RPG instead of what it used to be. Well, there used to be action
Adventure. Yeah.
action adventure. I like that, but it's not what like attracts me really easily. So open world RPG, I can play as I knew, like, obviously Assassin's Creed, with the title, I knew there was a bunch of elements of sneaking and being really stealthy and all that, and I was down for that because I don't normally play my characters like that. So I was really for that experience, but it's really open to be like, yeah, okay, you can adopt the, assassin kind of sneaking around the forts and infiltrating or whatever, or you can just burst through as this crazy ass warrior, bulked up and all that, and just destroy everybody. And like, there's no one lives to be able to tell the tale of you or alert anybody else. And I like that so much. So for me, I played a combination of the both. I loved sneaking into a fort, and I loved being super stealthy and just walking around all that.
Yep.
Until I wasn't good at that anymore. And then I would just bulk up and I'd go out and I'd just be killing everybody. And then I get all these mercenaries after me, and I'm like, come at me, bro. It's fine.
Yeah. I was exactly played the same way as you did.
And just the freedom to have that choice was just so alluring to me, and I was just that's it. I
would I'm kind of a min-maxer, so I would change my build and weapons as I went, depending if I was sneaking or if I was attacking. So the second I got caught, I would switch to my warrior build and then just fucking go ham.
Nice.
I was really more into the warrior build also, with the big hitting, big everything, because like Alice, it's fun to sneak, but the more you advance, the more you realize with the amount of soldiers and everything all around that if you get screwed, you really need to hit hard and be able to just defend yourself. And kicking is just, it's almost a meme at this point, especially when you reach it to the highest level, that you see the guy just flying around. So but I was really into the art hitting myself too. But definitely on this game, I didn't expect it at one point to actually become a Destiny Diablo in terms of loot, in terms of collecting and everything. I really expected more of a like the traditional old one, but with just some little, RPG elements for the stats and everything. But to be really as deep as that, I really
I
didn't
loved it.
expect it at all.
Yeah, I loved like you can like get sets of items, and then once you get the set of item, you can use that
Yeah.
like perk on any other item you want, and then you can just that like to me that was fucking great. Like, oh yes, perfect, so good.
Yeah.
Then the second you unlock the item, you can just put it on something else. That was so great.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
great.
I think the item customization is
Yes.
Yeah.
amazing when it
Yeah.
comes to the stats. Because like I was so good at sneaking, like I was almost defenseless when people found me. But thanks to like building my stats, I could get my warrior damage up. So if I could take at least 3 people at once with parrying and a few of my abilities and get the combat done really quickly. Just because of that. Just because if I kept on top of my gear and my items and the stats attached to them, I could still go be a full assassin, and if I got found out,
Yeah,
within
you can switch back.
I could just switch my combat wheel to the warrior and be able to hold them off and maybe switch my weapon. But at one point a whole camp went after me, and I just had to bolt.
Just run.
I was like,
run.
that's why I
I'm
took this skill
thankful
to
for that.
disappear and run.
And in terms of stats, that was amazing. And let's not forget what actually Ubisoft did post-launch with even the visual customization to be able to put any kind of stats of one with the appearance of another one. I've personally never seen that
Like
I've never
in
seen
any
that before.
game.
seamlessly.
Period.
Seamlessly.
It added a whole new level of role playing for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
I would actually like change Cassandra's appearance depending on what mission and what she wanted to do and how she was feeling, how I was feeling that day. I exploited that. I used that to like the best of its ability. I loved it. I loved it so much. It's just I don't know.
They've been providing us with content like crazy, but even the gameplay mechanics that they've added, this is just amazing. And let's not forget one of the most recent ones where you could actually even configure the level of the enemies upgrading with you if you really want it or not. This is like Alice said, like Steph said, really another level of customer of role playing that
Play
didn't
this
see
game
that.
how you want to play it.
Yeah,
because that's
cherry on top.
That's the thing with the Odyssey that's really good that they didn't have in Origin, is that the base levels with you. So you're never really over level. So you can do as much content as you get.
It tripped me up. I was like, I'm going to go do all of this spot and get OP, and then I'm just going to wipe the floor with the next area, and then they were still hard, and I was like, what am I doing? Why do I suck? The game is working against me.
Yeah, so the default setting was that they were 2 level below you, always, and followed you. Now with the latest update, you can control. I've put it so that I think that we're even Steven. So if I'm 63, everything is 63.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So basically, there's content that is like, if you're level 5 and the content is level 50, you can't play it. But if you're like so into side quests that you forget about the main quest for like 20 hours, and you come back and you're level 30 and the main quest was meant to be level 10, well, you can come back, but the main quest is actually now level 28.
Yeah.
That was pretty recent, though. Like, no, that wasn't recent.
That was baked into the game, but recently they've added the option of if you want, of how the level is.
Okay.
So
you turn it off.
You can turn it off. You can get it up.
Okay, that I didn't know.
So now you can choose: are you 2 level, or is the content 2 levels below you? Does it keep even with your level, or if you want it to be even higher? So you can. I think you can set the game that everything is slightly over level for you. So
the only thing that wasn't like that in my playthrough was some of the cultists that some of them I had a hard time actually finding them, and especially one when there's a story beat with a priestess and capturing like a kid or a baby like on an altar or something. But this one, I mean, I went for the kid. She went off, but it took so long to actually find her back that I was like double or level or something. And I was so satisfied when I actually killed her, and it was
Same.
brutal, and it was violent, it was crazy, but
I remember for that one, she pissed me off so much. I went online. I was like, "Where do I find her?" I got
Same.
same
and then
here.
I found her right away. And I was just like, "Oh, she was awful. She's a terrible,
Yeah, that
Totally.
terrible human." Ugh.
the
Who's
good
that?
thing
She's a
about
bitch.
that- yeah,
Total bitch.
Yeah.
that's how
Definitely.
it's through that cultist that you start to piece together the story of Deimos of
Yep.
how the baby got stolen.
Mhm.
And taken to
It's
the
so
cult.
tragic,
Oh,
So
but
fuck that story.
appropriate.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, crew. I think there's obviously a gazillion other things we could talk
Ooh.
about when it comes to Assassin's Creed Odyssey. The game is so deep, and it's wild. But overwhelmingly, I think we can say we all enjoyed this game. We loved it.
Fuck ton. Oh,
We
fuck
know
ton.
there's more coming. What's next for Assassin's Creed?
Just better and better and better.
I'm excited for the second DLC because it's called the Tales of Atlantis or anything. Because the Atlantis ending left me wanting for more.
Same.
Yeah.
So-
It was really fast.
So
I want to go swimming.
I was really excited to explore Atlantis
Yeah.
myself. Yeah.
So when that ending then I was like, well, I don't know, like left me wanting more.
I was
Anyway.
hoping.
What
I
what
was
are the
really
DLCs called? And I saw the second one. I was like, oh,
Hell yeah.
Legacy
Give
of
it
the
to me.
First Blade, whatever.
I think this is guaranteed the first time that I've actually been legitimately into DLC.
Yeah, me
I
too.
bought the season pass, man. What the hell?
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often.
Us too.
All right, guys. Well, like I said, we could keep talking about this, but we've been going on for quite a while, and I think we should kind of wrap it up. Maybe we can make part 2 once we do have some more of the DLC and continue the story. Because, I like this concept of discussing these things with you guys, especially when it comes to the story beats and we start getting into the lore.
I have a lot to say. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of
definitely.
lore in Assassin's
All
Creed.
right. Well, I want to thank everybody for being on this special episode of the GoGCast, video and all. And before I let everybody run away, I want to, of course, let them shout out their social media and anything else they'd like to plug, so you can go track them down and talk more Assassin's Creed with them. So, Catherine, I will lead it off with you like I do every time.
I am CSDESBINS, Says de Bien, on Twitter and Instagram. Come see my screenshots of Alexios and all his outfits.
It's like
So
you're playing
true.
dress up, Alexios.
It's so
And your beautiful
I
art.
fucking
I'm-
am, and I'm enjoying it.
Simon,
Yes.
what is your social media?
I figured that's where you were going.
Well, I was actually expecting you to
You
go,
weren't sure,
"Hi."
buddy.
Yeah, I am 40_GG on Instagram and on Twitter. I don't post much, but yeah, come follow if you want to chat.
Nice. How about you, Steph?
You can find me at Hexcats on Twitter, and I post a bunch of my art and play the games from Overwatch when I play with Kat over lunch, and just general stuff.
Awesome and amazing art as well.
Thank you.
And Pat, where can people find you?
Yeah, people can find me on Twitter at IRRGamer, or you can find me with with my friends at Real Game Media at Real Game Media, like the 3 words all together. And that's it. I game, I love music, I love metal, I love everything. So come and chat. Let's have fun.
It's great. And I'm Leah Jewer on most social media platforms. But of course, you want to know about Girls on Games, you can track us down at The Girls on Games on Twitter and Twitter and Facebook. On Instagram, we're just Girls on Games, so the at the beginning. If you would like to continue this lovely conversation about Assassin's Creed and more, you can do so on our Discord channel, discord.me/girlsongames. But of course, if you ever want to know anything at all, you can check it all out at our home base. That's our website, girlsongames.ca. Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Simon. Thank you, Steph. Thank you, Pat. It's been a lovely spoiler cast. I want to do more of these. I'm
Most Steph.
thinking Far
Yeah.
Cry New Dawn.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Prepared. Be prepared. All
I'll
right.
do it.
All right. So thanks once again, and we'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.